Hey traders, it's BA here. October the 15th, Monday evening, 2018, with your TTB update for the night. This is your report. Hey, I'm excited. We're getting closer. We had another down day today, and that's exactly what I wanted to see, because we are getting set up in the market for what I think is just going to be a rally that nobody's expecting. There's a couple of reasons for that. I keep pointing out all these studies that I have, these models that I've built that show that the market tends to rally, not just 4 times out of 5, but every time. Over the next 3 months, the market is higher. When we get into these areas right here, it's not just my studies that are telling me that, it's also sentiment studies from sentimenttrader.com. It's the only data cruncher, the only thing I subscribe to. And I will tell you what, the sentiment reports for tonight that were triggered are off the charts for the next 2 months. So not only does when the market participants do what they've done over the past week, and especially today, it triggers one of the most bullish 2-month windows that the data crunchers have ever seen. They've never seen what they call Z scores, like what happens when the market gets into this predicament right here. So the next 2 months, according to their studies, is very, very bullish. Doesn't mean we're going to rally tomorrow, but I'll tell you what. We have got to be ready. So be ready to move when these things trigger. Entry technique number 2 is our guide. That's what's going to put us into all these trades and tip us off. I'm going to be ready to press it when we get the signal. So I'm ready, and we've got a lot of really good looking stocks right now whenever this thing decides to go. So let's get started. Let's look at all the stock market index products right off the bat. So we're going to do that, and then I'll shift into, I did put on a new trade today. I had some email problems, so I could not send out what I did. And let me do that first before we review this. I put on Overstock. Let's pull that up, OSTK. I got Overstock for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can see here that we had my short-term bottoming tool told me it was time to buy, so we had a nice bullish day yesterday. I got in just a little above here on the 15-minute chart with a nice trade in. We're profitable right now in the trade. What I did was I bought the 27 calls in the October 18 cycle. We had let me see. Let me pull this up right quick before we go any further. It was 18 days to go. So what I did was I bought the 2 November 18s with 18 days to go. I went out a little bit further in Overstock because this thing has a tendency to, when it catches on fire, it runs. And I want to let this thing run if it actually goes. So that was the reason I went out just a little bit further. But 18 days is on the upper end of where I like to trade. So with any of these recommendations or stocks I'm looking at right now, just keep in mind I'm always going one strike out of the money, and I'm trading between that 12 and 18 day duration cycle. All right, just wanted to make sure we get that out of the way. Okay, let's start with the SPY. Pardon me while I take a sip. Hey, we've got a green up arrow and a down day today. That's what I love most about this. And so in the SPY, the 15-minute chart looks really good. You see how flat that top is right there? If you trade the SPY, I prefer to stay in the Qs and the IWMs, to be honest with you. But, you know, our target's right above that 15-minute flat spot right there, okay? Let's go to QQQ. Nice trade. We've got a buy at the bottom here, saying the potentially a bottom's in place. Rally up, we come back down. Again, this is exactly what I like to see when I get these top and bottom signals. I like to see a run up, a come back down. It gives me a chance to get back in. The market's winding up when it does that. Again, another flat top on the 15-minute chart. You can see here on the hourly, we made the low, rallied up, we're coming back down. Maybe this was the low right here. We don't know yet until we see a probe above that swing high right here. All right, let's take a look at IWM. This is one that I have a small position in. We will trade this one. I will add to this position if I get an entry above 155.81. So at 155.81, I'll be buying one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days duration. And we have, not only do we have potential bottom here indicated with our green up arrow, but we also have all of these yellow rectangles clustered down here. I love that. That just tells me this thing has just been bludgeoned on the downside. Take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It doesn't have quite the profile the others have, but that's okay. It's still taking a drubbing, so no issue there. All right, let's go through some of the stocks that we have. I need to grab my stocks. Give me just a second here. Apologize. Normally I've got this all ready. There we go. Okay. Let's start with Tesla. Hey, I really like this action at the bottom here at Tesla. See here, we've got a green up arrow. We've got a yellow triangle. All systems are go. Edge to the bulls above 263.49. I'll be buying one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days. Boeing. No action on Boeing yet. I don't quite like the setup right there. U.S. Steel, symbol X. Here we have a green up arrow indicating a potential bottom. Edge to the bulls above 29.09. I'll be looking at one strike out of the money. This is probably on the bottom rung of the list for buys. There's a lot of other really nice looking stocks in here, but still, if you like trading X, then this is the point where I would be buying. In fact, after today's action, we see that we're going to go down a little bit lower. 28.91, edge to the bulls above that. Yep, I like that a lot better. Facebook, some really good bottoming action here. So on Facebook, what I did was I wanted to show you this mark yesterday. We had 157.08. We had another day of activity. So we've got an inside day here with Facebook. An inside day means the high and the low trades inside this other bar. That's when markets really wind up tight. So that's a really good signal. Because of that and the fact that we've got low here on the 15-minute, higher low, higher low, higher low, potentially higher low, we're going to lower this down on Facebook, replace it, 155.79, edge to the bulls above that. We'll be buying one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 day cycle duration. American Airlines, another really good looking stock here. Potentially, guys, these things could explode to the upside. I'm talking hundreds of % return on some of these option plays right here. These markets have been just annihilated. And when they get like this at the bottom, there's only one thing. You got a lot of traders short, a lot of people betting against them. Hey, we had more traders put on protective puts today in the market than they have since 2016. Guess what happens when they do that? They're exactly wrong, not just wrong at the wrong time. They're 150% wrong on their position. That's one of the reasons I like the upside right here. We got guys just piling in looking for more downside action. So edge to the bulls, AAL, U.S. Airlines, 32.36, buying one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days duration. Amazon putting in some nice action. We've got a potential bottom right here with the with our little bottom picker. It rallied up, come back down, setting us up for a really nice trade. We're going to leave our marker set, our alert set on Amazon at 18.11.90. Edge to the bulls above that. NVIDIA just can't catch a break, but guess what? It did not take out the low today. Low was made over here. So if it holds tomorrow and rallies up, then 250.34 on NVIDIA. This thing can move. It looks like I've got the $15 away is a very large target. That means absolutely nothing in NVIDIA. This thing can rock without anything. If you want to set your target a little bit lower, say right in there, that's fine. We can replace that. Go to 247.13. I do not want to go any lower than that, though. No lower than 247.13 on NVIDIA. Square looks like it's potentially going to shoot and rocket right up. Guys, once this thing takes back off, it's going to be a major player for us. All right, so we've got a potential bottom identified. Looky here, another inside day. That means the market is coiling up for a potentially big move. I like this flat. See how flat it's trading here on the 15-minute? Look at that hourly chart right there. At 77.45, you can go down a little bit on this one since we had today's action. We can go down to right in here. Call it 76.07. Edge to the bulls above that. One strike out of the money. 12 to 18 days in duration. All right, let's look at Activision. Activision's putting in some good action as well. Again, it looks like we're trying to put in a bottom here. We've got some really good action on the 15-minute and 1 hour chart. So we've got low, higher low, higher low, and I really like it at 76.97. Anything above that, edge to the bulls. One strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days in duration. Roku kind of got away from me. That one painted the bottom here, and it's rallied up. But there's nothing saying, guys, if you like playing Roku, the chart pattern is still very, very bullish. I mean, you could, if you want to, you could play Roku above 62.57. That's the name of our game. When we're buying options, we're momentum. We're going with the momentum in this thing. So we're not buying. I'll talk about option sellers later on. But if you like Roku, then anything above 62.57 is still good to go. This thing can move. I've had a lot of really good trades in Roku. Let's take a look at Netflix. Potential bottom. I like this action. It looks like so many. We got a nice flat area over here. Edge to the bulls above 339.96 and one strike out of the money. 12 to 18 days duration. McDonald's, no trade in McDonald's. Apple. We've got a potential trade in Apple and X, probably two on the bottom of my list. If you put a gun to my head, I would trade this one simply because the mechanics, my system says the probabilities are that it's going higher. But that's the only reason. I much prefer the other stocks that have just been stretched to the downside. You might take the other side of this and like, well, hey, Apple's so strong, it didn't buckle like the other stocks. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I tend to do better when those stocks that have been stretched to the downside, they really have a lot of elasticity to them, and that's what we're looking for in this up move. Again, nothing wrong with this trade in Apple, but I would prefer to hit some of these others if we get the alerts. TQQQ. Again, this is if you like playing the Qs, then just play TQQQ with options. It's a much better play. Again, love the flat top. Above 58.46, buying one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days duration. Like this trade. Lululemon. Lululemon can move pretty good. So, hey, we've got a potential bottom here. It keeps rallying up and closing down on the day. One day it's not going to do that. It is going to just rip higher and close on the highs. So we've got a lot of really good action in Lululemon, and I like it above 147.20. Edge to the bulls, one strike out of the money, 12 to 18 days in duration. I added a stock here that just can potentially get on fire. I'm going to start following. It's Tandem Diabetics. This thing has gotten a lot of volume coming into it lately. I don't know what that means. But they may have something hot going on in this stock. We're playing it with options, so we've got limited downside risk in this thing. I like it above 37.90. So we'll keep playing this one probably forever because it has a tendency to gap up really big. Okay, let me check my notes, see what I forgot. All right, we covered the new trades. That's all I have for tonight. Hey, good trading tomorrow. Hopefully we get the move up that we're looking for. If we get it, I hope it's explosive. I want to see just a big rip-roaring day, 300 or more up in the NASDAQ, 75 up in the S&Ps. We need to get these guys that are short the market right now, we need to burn them. That's what propels this thing up right now. We're in a position where we can do that. We just need a little bit of kindling to start the fire. So anyway, this is BA signing out. We'll see you tomorrow night.